What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield video. Now, as I mentioned in previous videos, as I'm sure you guys know, E3 is currently going on, and of course Nintendo had their Direct today, followed by Treehouse Live, which they do most every year, which included some Pokemon Sword and Shield gameplay and demo and stuff like that. So there's information and new stuff surfacing from there, so of course we're going to dig into it. There wasn't much in the actual Direct itself, it's more in the gameplay demo afterwards, as well as also the actual demo that's there, playable for other people, and also a little thing that Masuda mentioned, which we'll talk about later. So first up, we have some new Pokemon that were, I guess, revealed. They're in the demo. They weren't revealed on stream, but they have obviously pictures have arisen and information has arisen because of people playing the demo themselves, so we get to hear about them as well. The first of these Pokemon is called Yamper, and it is a pure electric type and is a little electric corgi. Now, this was mentioned in the leak, since it's now confirmed as well. I mentioned that. I won't mention any more about the leak, but it was mentioned as one of the Pokemon that's now in the game, so it seems to be confirmed. I guess it's a corgi. Yeah, it looks a bit weird in terms of the face, but obviously from the back, definitely corgi-like, so we'll see what it's like there. It actually has a new ability as well, called, I think, ball catch or something on those lines. Basically, it retrieves the first ball fetch. That makes more sense. It retrieves the first failed ball in a wild Pokemon battle. So you go in to catch your wild Pokemon, you throw your Pokeball, it fails. Damn. Normally that would be a Pokeball being used up or wasted. Nope. Your little Yamper, I assume if it's actually out on the field to battle, will run over, scurry up and catch that Pokeball for you, so you can reuse it. So a little thing, it's not a huge thing like Runaway, I suppose. I don't know if it would work on Master Balls is the question. Might make it, well, a Master Ball's never going to fail, so yeah, don't ignore me there, please ignore me, Jesus. Yes, but it's an interesting ability nonetheless. It's different at least, so we'll see exactly, but that is Yamper for you. There's also a second new Pokemon, and that one is called, a little differently, it's called Impidimp. And as you can see, it's an imp Pokemon, I would assume so. From the right hand screenshot, which is the first I saw of it, it definitely looks like a Photoshop job, but it seems to be a real Pokemon. Impidimp, it's a dark fairy type, which I think is new. I don't think we've seen any dark fairies yet. I may be mistaken though, so it's interesting. No more information on it quite yet, but it is what it is. Its design, yeah, different I suppose. I don't exactly know what it's based off of. An imp, I would assume, but apart from that, yeah, it's different, I suppose. It's different, but that's a second new Pokemon, and obviously I guess we can talk about Yamper evolving, because it probably would. Impidimp may be similar to Sableye in that it won't evolve, but we will have to see another time. Moving forward then, we had a new reveal in the Direct itself, and this was of a new gym leader called Nessa. She is the gym leader of the Water Gym, as you'd expect, because she's based around water types and so on and so forth. So it's actually, this I think is the demo that the E3 guys are playing currently, so that's what they're experiencing, battling Nessa in the gym. And obviously we got some shots of her gym itself over on the eastern side of the region, as we've seen on the map. So that's Nessa for you. Again, in that leak, Nessa was mentioned as the name of one of the gym leaders, so this leak is getting more and more credibility as each piece of information comes out, and by this point we can assume it's all legit, unless there were a few misinformation just like trickled in there. But that's Nessa for you. Nothing too special about it, just a gym leader and so on and so forth. So we'll see exactly how that pans out. Then moving on to more of the stuff that was shown off in the gameplay demo itself, the gameplay on the Treehouse Live itself. For the gameplay for that, they gave you like a tour of the wild area, not the whole thing, just an area, and then also did a max raid battle. So these are some screenshots we have of the new stuff that's coming in as part of the communication features in the game, called the Y-Comm. Don't ask me why it's called the Y-Comm, that's a bit weird. Like the X transceiver, I suppose. X-Comm, Y-Comm, maybe something like that, who knows exactly. But you can see we have two screenshots here, the first one being the Y-Comm itself. So on the left hand side you have a series of icons. In the center you'll have like a news feed, and then you've got, top right it says what type of wireless mode you're on, and then a couple of different options at the bottom there. So we'll talk through them all individually, as well as also looking at the screenshot on the left hand side, which we'll do first. Left hand side you can see it's sort of like a little feed. So the feed that's on the main screenshot is on the other screenshot just as smaller icons. So you have Victor there with a screenshot of looks to be some sort of what we can see on the main feed. It's a max raid battle, Shield saying that they want to have a battle, and then Sword asking for a trade. So this is a smaller version, so you don't have to actually open up the Y-Comm menu to see what other people want to do. Similar back in X and Y, where you had the PSS, was it PSS? I think so, on the bottom screen, and you could obviously see them as you played the game. Can't do the hex, switch to one screen, but just put a little shortened version up on the side. Looking at the main screenshot though, we have I think 6 icons on the left hand side. So the first one is obviously trade, the second one is a bit different because it's like stars rather than just arrows, so maybe that is wonder trade. Third one down is, I do not know how that is, some sort of card being rotated, who knows exactly. Fourth one is obviously a battle. Fifth one, something to do with people because they have a person icon there, maybe looking at a friends list. And then the last one obviously being a search icon, so maybe you can search for friends, for example. In the main feed, as we've mentioned, we got a max raid battle, so Victor has said we want a max raid, so he's seeking people for his max raid battle. We have Shield, who is asking for a link battle. I don't know whether this is obviously directly, like Shield has asked this person playing the game for a battle, or whether it's a case of they have said, I want a battle, come and battle me. They're not seeking, so maybe not. And then Sword similarly is looking for a link trade, and you can see the area in the game they are on. Now we don't know whether you're going to be able to run into other players throughout the entire game. We've only seen it in the wild area so far, and we'll talk more about it in a second. The wild area makes sense that it's confined to one area of the game, but it's also possible, since we have all the different locations marked here, that it's all over the game. Of course, Watchtower Ruins will be in the wild area itself, so all the raids will be in there. Of course, we have local at top right, because you can have local or you can have internet, I suppose, remote, global communication, so you can either play with your friends locally, or you can connect to the internet and play with, presumably, joining a lobby or something. I don't know exactly, because how would that work? You can't join a global lobby. What if you want to play with your friends exactly? You have to at least join some sort of lobby to do that, so maybe that will be something to do with the icons on the left hand side. Then finally at the bottom we have confirm for confirming, R for blocking, maybe that's just like I don't want to see anything from this person, plus sign for connecting to the internet, and then presumably disconnect, and obviously quit. So this is how the communication features are going to work. Still not fully clear on how it works over the internet, but locally you can see you can get together with your friends via switches, and you can participate in max raid battles and so on like that. Onto the gameplay demo we saw itself though, we had a little bit here where we see Gloria join this person's game, or be in the same game as this person. They run up towards this player and they don't speak. You can see the player speaks to them and says, and they say, I found this 3 days ago, but I'll give it to you, and gives them a pack of potatoes. So the Irish have appeared, but they don't, it's not like a back and forth basically. It's more a case of you can talk to the other player character, but they're not going to give you anything useful in return. It's more of a automated response, which is the sort of thing I was mentioning back when the leak came out, and the leak mentioned that you had to talk to other players to receive items, and it seems like that's the case here. You don't actually have to do anything with them, you just literally talk to them and then the game does it for you almost. So we saw that, and then we moved on to see stuff about the max raid battle itself, because that was the most interesting part. Yes, we saw some wild battles and some catching, but nothing too interesting we haven't seen already there. Here we have the max raid, I guess, lobby screen, so you join in the lobby for your max raid battle and you got all the information here. So first up, top left, you can see we have 3 stars, so clearly it's basically a transplant of the raid battles from Pokemon Go. You have a star system to determine how hard the battle is going to be, and then obviously you've got different information across there, so the typing of the Pokemon. Steelix's silhouette you can see is greyed out, it's blacked out, presumably once you've either beaten them in max battle for a first time, or you've caught them, that's when it fades in. Of course you can just tell anyway. You got the information about the rain and the weather, and also you get told that the battle ends when Pokemon faint 4 times, or the battle lasts for 10 turns. Now Pokemon faint 4 times is a bit generic. Does that mean like all 4 Pokemon faint, or does that mean just has to be 4 Pokemon from any person? Like, I could join a battle and my same Pokemon could faint 4 times, and then we lose, and everyone else could not have lost any. It's unclear. Lasts for 10 turns though, so it's obviously going to be a quick battle, or a reasonably quick battle. I mean, it's 4 players, so I suppose maybe 10 turns is going to be quite lengthy, waiting for people to select their moves and so on. So it makes sense there is a limit there. Then on the right side you've got time remaining, and you've got your 4 players in the lobby, Victor, Tom, Jane and Gloria. You can see we have profile pictures, so you'll be able to select some sort of picture, and maybe once you customise your character you'll be able to take a picture like we have in previous games like Sun and Moon, or select a Pokemon. Maybe it's any Pokemon in the deck, or maybe it's a select few like Scorbunny, Grookey, Sobble, etc. Then you can see next to those players you have the Pokemon they have selected to take into battle, Scorbunny, Arcanine, Togekiss and Ludicolo. So you take one Pokemon into battle against the max Pokemon, so either for some reason your Pokemon can keep getting revived, or it's just a case of, the last person, one person can stand alone and finish them off. Who knows? And then behind that you've got ready to battle, switch Pokemon and quit. So yeah, obviously ready up, or change the Pokemon using, or of course just quit the battle entirely. The person on the stream does indeed go and switch their Scorbunny out because they would be a bit silly taking it against the Steelix. So we do get a quick sort of screenshot here of what seems to be the PC system in the game. You can see the party on the left hand side, a couple of different buttons and such across the top for different modes, and same bottom, and then you actually got the box there with the Pokemon shown on the right hand side. So Lucario here. In terms of, the big question I suppose is whether the box system is the same as was in Sun and Moon, or whether the box system was the same as in Let's Go, i.e. can you access it anywhere? Seeing as you're in a raid screen and you can swap the Pokemon you're using, it's possible that means that you can access the PC anywhere. Or it might just be the fact that obviously if you're in a raid with your friends, you don't want to be like, oh guys, I gotta run back to the PC, I'll be like a minute or two. No one wants to do that. They want to be able to quickly switch to the box, and it might not be even adding this this Pokemon to your party. It might just be a case of I'm going to use Lucario for this raid battle and no more. So that's one possibility there, but it does look like a clean screen, I should say. Then we have the actual shot of the battle itself. You can see the 3 other players' Pokemon at the top left, Steelix's bar right in the middle. You've got a move time limit, as makes sense, and then of course you've got the standard fight UI around you. So the interesting thing about the other players on your team is they can declare what they want to do. I don't know how you do that, but you can declare it, so that little speech bubble will say, oh, I'm going to Dynamax, or I'm going to use a supporting move, or I'm going to use a special move. I think those are very basic stuff. It's not like I'm going to use this move in particular. It's a case of I'm using an attacking move or I'm using a defensive move. So obviously for raid battles, stuff like Reflect is pretty good because it helps your team bulk out a little bit. There's no level on Steelix, as you can see, so it gets a bit hard to gauge like what level you're supposed to be for this fight. The Lucario is 26, and they do defeat the Steelix fairly handily. They burn it as well, so that's pretty OP. But yeah, it looks like a clean screen, and I'm quite liking the idea of raid battles at the moment. Then we have one final, I think, one from here, which just shows you the Pokemon screen for the fight. So you can see a Steelix and then the 4 Pokemon on your team, and obviously it's the same sort of idea when you actually use a move and select who you want to use it on. Most of the time it would be the opposing Pokemon. So that's just another nice screenshot there. But I'm liking the idea of raid battles now. I don't like the idea of the Dynamax mechanic in general. I think I'd be perfectly happy if it was just a case of there are giant Pokemon in the wild that you can raid battle. I don't think I would have needed the Dynamax mechanic to be in the rest of the game, sort of thing. I would have been happy just having it just confined to the one raid battle online with your friends, rather than it being like, oh yeah, you can do it too, and then it's in gym battles and it's here and there, and oh my god, it's a huge thing. And if you've read the leaks, you know there's a bit more to it. So yeah, I'm getting a bit happier with it, I suppose. In terms of other information we had revealed during the direct and just afterwards, there are a few pieces here and there. First being that the Pokeball Plus actually has a usage for Pokemon Sword and Shield, not a huge one. It's that you can take Pokemon out in it, similar to how you can for Let's Go. Can't use it to control the game or anything like that, because that would be a bit OP. But you just use it to take Pokemon for a walk and presumably get some rewards in game, probably some shitty items, so maybe not worth it, but at least they're doing some support with it. Also, if you do connect the Pokeball Plus to a version of Sword and Shield, you can send the mythical Pokemon Mew to it. However, I think that's only if it's a new Pokeball Plus, so if you've sent it to Let's Go already, you're all out of luck, mate. You've got to transfer that Mew from Let's Go to Sword and Shield. So if it's a new Pokeball Plus, you can get a Mew. If it's not, you're out of luck. So unfortunately, it's not a case of like, oh, I've got a Pokeball Plus, cool. When I get Sword and Shield, I'll grab a Mew. Nope. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because, yeah, one per ball basically. But apart from that, that's pretty much all the information. However, during the Treehouse live, they were having little chats, and Junichi decided to come out with some information about how they're going to handle Pokemon in general. So, we have our Rotom Dex, or our phone Rotom thing that is partly Pokedex in this game, and we've had our Pokedexes and our national Pokedexes and our regional Pokedexes for a long time now. However, it has been revealed in Pokemon Sword and Shield, the only Pokemon you will actually be able to obtain in the game or even transfer in from Pokemon Home will be the Pokemon in the Galar region Pokedex. So for example, in Sun and Moon we had the Alolan Pokedex, but you could still transfer a Charmander across from Pokemon Bank to use a Charmander and a Charizard in your competitive battles, or just because you like Charmander. When we come to Sword and Shield, okay, Charmander will be in the Dex, but that's, apart from that, let's say we want to play with a Piplup. Piplup is probably not going to be in the Galar Dex, so of course you will not be able to transfer it from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, or you can do that, but not from Pokemon Home to Pokemon Sword and Shield. So the only Pokemon that will ever be obtainable in those games will be the ones in the Galar Pokedex. Now I have spoken about this sort of issue beforehand in actually one of my videos preparing for Pokemon Switch themselves. It was actually in January 2018, so almost a year and a half ago I spoke about this, how in Sun and Moon they removed the National Pokedex itself, so there was no National Pokedex in Sun and Moon if you remember, but you could still transfer the Pokemon over, and I spoke about why they did this and how it might continue on in the future. And the sort of conclusions we drew were that, as you get more and more Pokemon in the game, it becomes a bit less feasible to have them all in every single game. Namely because it's a lot to do. I'm not saying the memory issues are the reason they did this choice. However, it just daunts new players really. If you've got 1,000 Pokemon and you can only get 300 in the game you're in, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, oh, I'm really hyped, I'm going to get more games? You're probably not. You're going to say 700 more, no thank you, and then give up on the franchise. Whereas if you lower the number down to maybe about 300, 400 in total, then it's a lot more achievable for people, and then that's how it goes. This is sort of how they did it in Sun and Moon, so you could transfer the other Pokemon that weren't in the Alola Dex into the game. They wouldn't show up on any Pokedex at all. You wouldn't have a national dex that shows you, how many you got out of 700, 800 or so. You would just have the Pokemon in the game. In Sword and Shield, they're going one step further and removing them entirely. Now, whether this is something they have to do, we don't know. It could be the fact that, okay, it's a lot of memory. Probably not. They had all the models in Sun and Moon in the games on the cartridges. Shield and Switch games, are better. So unless they've had to double, triple the size of the assets, probably sizing is not the case, unless they wanted to say, oh well, we could include all the Pokemon, but then we have to put the game on a 16GB chip. That costs twice as much as the 8GB chip, and thus our profit margins will be twice, or a little bit less than they would have been. So that might be one reason. The other one might be the fact that yes, they just want to make it more accessible for new players, and rather than having everything in here and throwing them at you, it's more a case of you can get the stuff in the game and that's that, and you can get your 100%. It's a bit weird either way. Of course, you can check out my old video to look at how the national dexes and the regional dexes changed over time, i.e. once we got to Kalos, the regional dex was huge. It was like 400 Pokemon, as opposed to previously when it was, regional dexes are 100 150. Same thing for Alola, it was like 300 400 Pokemon large. So that's the shift they're moving towards, so I would expect a similarly sized Pokedex for Galar, so 300, 400 Pokemon in total, so maybe around half the Pokemon in existence will be obtainable in the game, or accessible in the game, the rest will not, and you'll have to wait to another game to actually transfer Pokemon into. Now initially some people might be like, well, I suppose that's okay, I'm not particularly tied to anything, I'm the same in some instances, but obviously people have carried forth some teams through their games from start to finish. We can transfer all the way up from Generation 3, so you can get a Generation 3 Game Boy Advance game, transfer Pokemon there onto a Generation 4 game on your DS thanks to the Power Park. Then you can transfer from Generation 4 to Generation 5 using your DS thanks to the Dream Park or Dream Radar or something, I don't know. And then you can go from Gen 5 obviously onto Pokemon Bank, and then up to Gen 6, Gen 7, and then from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, but not to Gen 8, not into Sword and Shield. So I might have carried forward my Fire Red team all the way up, and I want to throw him into Sword and Shield to battle with, but oh, actually Pidgeot's not in the game, so I can't transfer Pidgeot across, so I'm only on 5 out of 6 of my team, and oh, Lapras isn't in the game either, that's another one gone. That sort of thing obviously is annoying for some people. People have said on Twitter, I've seen people saying, oh well, they should patch these Pokemon in future updates, you know, every couple of months, add a huge bulk more Pokemon, because the other aspect of course is competitive. You know, it means that there will only be a certain amount of Pokemon available in competitive. So for example, if Landorus is not in the Galar Dex, probably not, Landorus will not be able to be used in competitive battles for Generation 8, at least until a new game comes out after Sword and Shield. Showdown, you can probably play it on Pokemon Showdown and do a Gen 8 battle there, but technically, theoretically, it won't be there. The question is whether they have all the Pokemon coded into the game still anyway. They possibly might do. It might just be easier to transfer the whole data set across from previous games, and they're just preventing Pokemon from going into the game so they don't have to handle it. Or it might be that they've literally stripped everything down, so only the Pokemon that are actually obtainable and accessible will be put in the games. So for example, they won't even bother coding in a Bulbasaur. There will be no existence of the Bulbasaur in the code, so you know, you just won't be able to do it anyway. So whether they patch some stuff in or not, it remains to be seen. I personally think they won't, because it's Game Freak and we know what Game Freak are like. Never have done they've done patches to fix bugs, but they've never done a post-release DLC or update. Nothing at all. So I'm doubtful that would happen. Depending on how the outrage occurs, it may. But you always got to remember, Game Freak and Nintendo, Japanese companies. Japan tends to be where they look first for their market, and the Japanese players do, you know, care about different things than the rest of the world. So we'll see. We'll see exactly how it all pans out. Let me know down below your thoughts on this. You know, are you going to be sad that you can't get your Emolga or your Pachirisu into the new games, or are you sort of not too fussed about it, and you know, you understand the reasoning why it might have been done? Just let me know down below. It's a very tricky issue, I suppose. A lot of people are going to be divided on this, or although I assume most people will be on the side of, you know, they want their Pokemon in the games. Come on now. We'll see though, we'll see. But that is going to be it for this E3 summation video. I doubt we'll get too much more information from E3 itself, so we'll see if there are any other topics to go over, legendaries wise. We'll see. So I'll trickle some videos out over the next couple of, I guess, weeks, until we get a new trailer with some new information, and we'll see how it goes from there, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what you think about the lack of some Pokemon. You know, obviously you'll have probably seen some of the clickbait videos already on YouTube. They're removing Pokemon, etc. You get the idea. So yeah, let me know down below, and I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye, my friends.